Hi everyone, it's Sunflower Spirit here, and I'm here to do a pick a card reading. And today's topic is how can you develop your intuition? And so, intuition is something that everybody has. We all have intuition. We all are able to develop it if we so choose. So, I thought this would be a good topic. Um, as people, we're kind of in a period of time where people are becoming more spiritually aware, they're becoming more um, there's been a lot of enlightenment. There's going to be a lot more enlightenment. So let's go ahead and pick your cards. We have pile number 1, which is the Gilded Tarot. We have pile number 2, which is the Radiant Rider Waite Tarot. And we have pile number 3, which is the Morgan Greer Tarot. So take a moment, pick your cards, and we'll get started here. Okay, this is for those of you who chose pile number 1 or the Gilded Tarot. So first, let's take a look at your blockage. What might be blocking you from developing your intuition? How can you develop your intuition? We have impatience, and we also have chariot or barricade. So this would be like, in the Rider-Waite Tarot, this would be like the shadow side of the chariot. So, okay, let's take a look at your cards. We have the High Priestess. We have the Sun, the Ten of Cups, and the Page of Swords. You also have Totality, or Five of Fire, and Patience, or Seven of Earth. And then you also have Truth, or this would be like the Judgment card in the Rider-Waite. So how can you, pile number 1, how can you focus on developing your intuition? How can you develop your intuition? So I'm getting a very clear message about truth. It's about finding the truth. And, truth, it's hard to explain what truth is because, there's a lot of argument that truth can be like subjective, but really it's this clarity. Truth is going to be this clarity. It's going to be this enlightenment. It's going to be um, having sat in this sort of period of unknown, in this unknown, this limbo state, having sat with this kind of isolation of between thoughts, ideas, situations, perceptions. It's going to be having come through this unknown. It's kind of like having an epiphany. So to develop your intuition, you're going to have to be curious. You're going to have to be curious. You're going to have to, you know, like watch and observe your surroundings. It's about understanding how your life is abundant right now, how your fulfillment is contributing to this. It's about having faith and, maybe coming out through the struggle, maybe coming through the struggle, being, feeling like you're, like swinging from two different opposing viewpoints. It's also going to be, you're going to have faith. You're going to have patience. This is like, um, a lot of times, when you start to develop your intuition, it's sort of about like planting that first seed. Like, well, okay, first, becoming aware that you do have intuition, that everybody is able to develop their intuition. But then after that, it's sort of like this process of growth of every time you have a feeling in your gut, or every time you get a strong sensation about something, or you get a strong, like, um, I mean, it could come in so many different forms. It could be like something you hear, or something that you see, or a vision that flashes through your mind, a word that flashes through your mind. It could just be like simply like a feeling, like you get a yucky feeling about something, or you get joyful, optimistic feeling about something. So it's kind of like planting that seed and then like being able to recognize that wherever you are with it, like you have exactly what you need. Like you're stable, you have this foundation, you have a good solid grounding of it, and it's trusting the universe. It's getting this clarity, um, being able to be uncomfortable to get this clarity. Because sometimes, having an intuition and using your intuition is very uncomfortable, especially when you are going to when it gets more developed, you might um, things might come out about people around you or people that you care about that they don't necessarily want you to know, that they are trying to deny to themselves, and this is difficult. So it's kind of like being willing to hear that truth as difficult, because the truth is hard to hear sometimes. The truth is definitely hard to hear. It's being okay with being alone in that knowing your truth or standing for your truth. And it's having the patience with yourself, being curious. Yeah, because look, you guys got the impatience card. So this is the color of the throat chakra, this blue color. So this is like how you relate to the world. So this might be kind of your expectations. Like, how are you holding yourself back from developing your intuition? How are you contributing to this blockage, to feeling barricaded by what you know? Are you blocking it for a certain reason? Are you blocking it because the truth is hard to express? It's hard for other people to hear? Are you afraid of what people might think? Are you feeling like you need to know everything right now? Is that what's blocking you? Because that's kind of what this impatience card is saying. And it's interesting because the impatience card came out for you guys where your blockage is, and the patience card came out for the reading. So there's definitely an element here of, letting things have time to blossom, letting things have time to grow. Not expecting so much of yourself, not expecting you to know right now. Sometimes I know for me, sometimes my intuition, I will need to sit there and process for a little bit before. Sometimes it hits me like that, but other times it's kind of like, I have to be, I just have to keep on watching, keep on observing, keep on listening to myself, you know, and, kind of sometimes even struggling through it. Sometimes that's just how it is with intuition. So there's this element for you guys who chose pile number one. You're blocking yourselves, you're blocking forward movement, you're blocking this truth coming out because you're impatient, because you are not allowing for the process to, um, you know, fully be a process, because it will ultimately be a process. It might be having something to do with being in this uncomfortable, sitting with this unknown, being alone with the truth. It could have something to do with that. So for those of you who chose pile number one, I see you as very intuitive people. I just see you, you might be blocking yourself because there's some sort of blockage with expressing the truth, being alone with the truth, um, and also in this uncomfortable waiting period, this sort of like gestation period of, waiting for this to fully develop, for this to fully grow into something. So hopefully that was helpful for you, pile number one. If not, feel free to check out the other piles. Thanks so much for stopping by. All right, this is for those of you who chose pile number two. This is the Radiant Rider Waite Tarot. So first we're going to look at what might be blocking you. This is how can you develop your intuition? How can you develop your intuition? So release. We have release for your blockage, and we have villain of decay, impotent. And this would be sort of like the dark side of the Knight of Pentacles. So let's see what we got for your tarot cards. We have the Page of Swords. Oh, that's so weird. We had that in pile number one, too. We have the Page of Swords. We have Death. We have the Hermit. we have the Chariot. And then you also have Projections, which is like the Seven of Cups in the Rider-Waite Tarot. And we have Adventure, which is like the Page of Pentacles in the Rider-Waite Tarot. And then we have the Waiting Game, which will be like the Two of Wands in the Rider-Waite Tarot. Okay, so how can you, pile number 2, develop your intuition? How can you develop your intuition? So for you, pile number 2, it's about being okay with, it's about going through this transformation. It's sort of about going through this transformation. It's pulling from within you, the darkness, transforming it to light. It's kind of like having this rebirth. It's having the ability to go through these maybe really scary or really difficult changes in your life. It's the ability to change yourself, and to, come out on the other side aligning yourself with your values, moving forward with your personal value system. So it's going to take, there's a lot of like inner work for pile number 2, for you guys to fully develop your intuition. You really need to go through these transformations first. You need to go through some sort of rebirth first. You also need to be curious and observant about, and like I said, pile number 1 also got the Page of Swords, so you might resonate with pile number 1's too. But it's being observant, being curious about it. You also need to take a look at the people around you, and projections are, this is, how we judge other people. Projections are kind of like how the things that we don't like about other people that are really just reflections of ourselves. It's really just stuff that we haven't been able to deal with yet. We haven't really been able to deal with yet. So we pass the judgment off to other people when really they're just a mirror of what we don't like about ourselves. So, this might be part of your transformation. You might be at sevens, that's that personal growth and development, personal transformation number. So this is like you going through this transformation, you recognizing, being honest with yourself about what you are seeing in other people that rubs you the wrong way, that is really a reflection of what you don't like about yourself. It's about that self-esteem, you know. And then we have the Page of Pentacles, or Adventure. So it's willing to kind of have sort of like an inner child type of wanting to know more, of wanting to adventure, but also having that patience with yourself going through this transformation, and waiting. I got patience with the last with pile number 1, and now we have the Waiting Game. So it's, once again, it's about patience. It's about, you have to make the decision. It's about, do you want to grow? Is this something that you're willing, is this in your value system to learn to develop your intuition? Do you have what it takes to get through some of this like scary, dark, personal stuff, to make these changes in your life, to transform yourself? Because I see like huge, I mean, these are all major arcana cards. So this is like a huge transformation for you guys. And what you're struggling with, what's blocking you, is release, which is, you're focusing on the past. You're allowing the past to define your present, and you really need to let go of the past. We have that with death too. Death is about relief and release. You get the relief once you release these old pathways that aren't serving you. And we have the villain of decay, impotent. You're feeling impotent with these gifts that you have, with this intuition, with developing this, because you are focusing on your past. You're not allowing yourself to remain present. You are focusing on, and sometimes it's easier. I see a lot of stuff coming up that's about denial. Sometimes it's easier to, blame other people, judge other people. Sometimes it's easier to blame the past or judge the past, than it is to really move forward, because the Knight of Pentacles, which is what the, not shadow side, not dark side of this card would be is somebody who's going to move forward. And not only move forward, but move forward in a direction that is going to be well thought out, well planned, that is going to be skillful, that is going to ultimately bring success all around because this person has mastered how to move forward, how to make these changes, how to release this past that's holding them back. So, so that's what I'm seeing for you guys. I really see, it is scary to go through these transformations. It is like, you might feel like you're going around and around in circles, around this. But do you see how there's this tree here? This tree, and it's rooted. So, this tree is rooted here. It is, you have this stability, and I also see this stability because we do have the Page of Pentacles. So there's sort of this like wanting to move towards this alignment. Do you see how this little child here is moving towards this rainbow? Like it's like wanting to move towards this alignment for yourself. So I do see, and I see, wanting to move towards your alignment once again with the Chariot. So hopefully that was helpful for you, pile number 2. If not, feel free to check out the other piles. Thanks so much for stopping by. Okay, this is for those of you who chose pile number 3 or the Morgan Greer Tarot. This is on the topic of how can you develop your intuition. And first we're going to take a look at and see what your blockage might be or what the shadow side might be. So we have perfection. And then we also have 4 of decay or prisoner. Ooh, yeah. All right, so let's see what your tarot cards are. We have the 4 of Swords. We have the Lovers. We have the King of Swords. And we have the 4 of Cups. Interesting. And then we have Intensity, which is like the Knight of Wands in the Rider-Waite Tarot. And we have Stress, or the 7 of Fire, 7 of Wands in the Rider-Waite Tarot. And we have Trapped in Fear, which is like the 8 of Swords in the Rider-Waite Tarot. So how can you develop your intuition? Those of you who chose pile number 3. So, well, really, what I'm getting a sense of is that it's really your decision. You have this decision right now. You're sort of like on the fence. This could have been something that's crossed your mind recently. And so you're having this decision is either going to follow your heart, follow your spiritual path, or you're going to choose a different path. So it's really up to you. I do see you are wanting to logic this out. You're really wanting to logic this out. You're wanting to be strategic about it, which, intuition is about wisdom, and the King of Swords embodies wisdom. However, having said that, the logicking it out is part of this perfectionism. You wanting to logic this out, this is wanting you to be perfect. You're still wanting to hold on to this idea that you have to uphold some sort of um, some sort of image, like to be seen in this world. Like, so you're going to have to make that decision. Like I said, there's some sort of decision. Are you going to go with, logicking it out, trying to be perfect, trying to show this image that you're perfect, or are you going to be genuine? Because, yeah, I'm going to be completely honest with you right now. Wanting to develop your intuition is going to require a specific amount of having integrity and being a genuine, sincere person, and having genuine, sincere intentions. And I don't mean that in a rude way. I'm just saying that's, if you want to develop your intuition, that is something that comes with the territory. So we have these 4s here. We have a 4 of Cups. We have a 4 of Swords. So I feel like you're thinking about this. You might even be talking to people. You might be talking to your counselor or talking to friends. You could just be like meditating on it, thinking about it. You're really trying to figure out, you know, Do I follow my heart or do I go with this sort of logic, like this head heart sort of decision? Because I see that in multiple ways. We have the lovers here with the King of Swords. We also have the Four of Cups with the Four of Swords. And so cups are going to be like emotions, swords are going to be thoughts. So it's kind of like this head heart, like you want to feel stable and you're used to feeling stable by this image that you're upholding. You've become a prisoner of this idea that you have to act a certain way or talk a certain way or be a certain way or be a certain person. You have to project this sort of like energy into the world. You feel like that's the only way you're going to be accepted. And so you've made yourself a prisoner. You're a prisoner of yourself. You're trapped by this fear that you are. It comes from this place of not feeling enough, this lack, this, not feeling worthy. And I feel like you have this energy surge. You have this sort of like desire, this huge desire, this motivation to move forward with this heart decision. Um, However, I feel like you are struggling a little bit right now. It's stressful. It's stressful. This is kind of like you're trying to figure out the balance of it all. You're trying to figure out the balance of like basically like who you are as a person. You're trying to come to terms with, like this being trapped, feeling trapped, being afraid of your potential and what you might actually have to offer should you be genuine about it, and this sort of desire to control things with your mind because you do possess a lot of wisdom. You are a person who possesses a lot of wisdom. And so ultimately it's going to come down to, you know, you're going to have to make this decision like are you willing to, continue on the way things have been, feeling trapped like this, or are you going to open yourself up to these possibilities and, free yourself from these self-imposed prisons. So I know that's like super heavy. That's a lot. Pile number 3. Hopefully that resonated. Hopefully it was helpful. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you guys later.